Good evening, I'm Shane Jones. Leading the news at 7. The upsurge in violence in Barbados has been blamed for the low turnout at this year's Oystins Festival. Despite familiar scenes such as the grease pole and dolphin skinning competition, many people say the festival just isn't the same as years gone by. Our Sharika Griffith reports.
From toys to food to wood and leather craft, there was no shortage of things to buy at this year's Oystins Fish Festival. The only thing missing was the people.
Well, when I was growing up, you couldn't even see the streets. Now the traffic are passing. Before there was no traffic, you couldn't even get to different stalls unless you push people. But now it's like a typical day in Bridgetown and a weekday. This is how a weekday looks. To me, this is not really a festival. Not even a boat tug and pull any people, so something is missing.
Regular patron of the festival, Marlon Cole, says young people don't seem to be interested in the festival. He also believes some people may be opting to stay away because of the rise in crime.
I would say like some people frightened for violence. So when people hear about violence getting on different places, they might not want to come out to bring the children to involve in the society. So it'd be hard.
Sherry Shepherd, whose family has been selling at the festival for the past 30 years, says she's noticed a fall off in locals, but a rise in the number of tourists attending the festival. She believes more promotion is needed.
I don't want to say that publicity isn't there. There is publicity, but I believe that it is not as pushed as Crop-Over. So a lot of persons don't come like before.
The fish boning and dolphin skinning competitions were among the highlights of the final day of the festival. Jacqueline Norgrove walked away with $1,000 as she claimed first place in the fish boning competition. Tyrone Dolphin Shorey once again dominated in the dolphin skinning segment, claiming his 15th win.
My technique is just speed in the hands. I was a fan fish king one time, but the girls brought me out.
Not to be left out was the greasy pole competition, which was won by a group of young men who call themselves Team Oystins. Their plan was simple.
Get to the top, get the door, give people a show, and go home. Have fun.
Patrons were also kept entertained by the sweet songs of a traditional Bajan tuck band and the antics of these Mother Sallies. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. More children are being diagnosed with diabetes in Barbados. First Vice President of the Diabetes Association, Annette Clark, made the revelation while blaming declining lifestyle choices as the major cause. Ms. Clark says young people are still using too many salty and sugary snacks, both at home and in the school.
That's what we're trying to do right now, to raise the awareness, both in schools and throughout Barbados, because the figures are rising, both among the youth and older persons. So, more children are coming, more children are developing type 2 diabetes now as a result of overweight and lifestyle.
Ms. Clark's comments followed a presentation from the Key Club International to assist with the Diabetes Association's annual children's camp. It's intended to help raise diabetes awareness and positively influence the lifestyles of young Barbadians. Meanwhile, Key Club representative Brianna Williams says more attention needs to be given to the local fight against diabetes.
There's obviously always people focusing on HIV, people focusing on cancer, but I don't find that people put a lot of emphasis on diabetes. And as Key Clubbers, a major emphasis for us are children and helping children, and we saw that the Diabetes Association of Barbados, they had a camp to help the children, which was going to occur this summer, so we decided to raise money to donate to that through Miracle Minutes across the clubs in Barbados.
This is a nice story. Patients at the psychiatric hospital were able to celebrate the Easter holiday with Christian fellowship when the St. Thomas Community Choir visited the Black Rock Institution to lead them in song. They sang several of the patients' favorite hymns to their delight. Organizer of the event, Dr. Sherry Ann Catwell, says it was a must.
I currently work at the psychiatric hospital, and during my day-to-day duties, the patients have been singing a lot of Easter songs, such as Holy, Holy or At the Cross, and they mentioned to me that they wish they could be out in the community at church during the Easter period.
Choir conductor Sylvester Niles says the 38-year-old St. Thomas Community Choir prides itself in helping wherever it can.
Every Easter bank holiday and Christmas bank holiday, we go around to these hospitals and homes.
I just find, what's the reason for you guys touring to these hospitals and homes?
We bring joy to those who are residents of the very hospitals, and we find that they receive it very well indeed. And we ourselves get pleasure from doing this. We sacrifice these 2 bank holidays of each year.
The rise of newer technology has brought with it an increased level of distracted driving, and the Barbados Road Safety Association continues with its efforts to educate road users of the do's and don'ts on the Barbadian roads. It is doing so through a distracted drivers campaign dubbed Silent for Safety. Brochures outlining what drivers need to know about the amended Road Traffic Act, along with some tips, have been distributed. President Charmaine Rowland-Bowen says the association intends to address the issue during a series of town hall meetings.
The first being April the 12th at the Princess Margaret Secondary School at 7 p.m. So we're inviting the public to come out. Let us be part of the discussion. Ask questions, get answers, know your rights, know what you need to do, know how to comply, learn how to be safe and learn how to save lives, maybe your own. And we would like all persons, to come out. That is the first one. The second one, we're looking at the Lester Vaughan School, and that will be the 19th. So please, Barbados, come out. Let us work together. Let us take responsibility for our own lives and the lives of other persons.
Ms. Rowland-Bowen says there are still some who may sneak a call while driving, even though the ban on cell phone use is in place.
Even though they might be driving, maybe at night or maybe on a lonely road and there's no police officer around, even at night the police officer can't see you. If you use that cell phone, you make that call, that handheld cell phone, and you get involved in a collision, an accident, it is a serious one or it is a fatal one. The police have the power within their investigations of that particular case to subpoena your phone records, and they will see if you were at the time using your cell phone.
A St. John man has been remanded to prison in relation to last month's murder of Jaquil Small. 42-year-old Adrian O'Brien Williams of Henley Land was not required to plead when he appeared before Magistrate Douglas Frederick in the District A Magistrates Court earlier today. He turned himself in after being the subject of a wanted man notice. 25-year-old Small, who was also of Henley, was fatally stabbed in Regent Hill, The Pine, on March 23rd. Williams is expected to reappear in court on May 2nd. All right, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news. The annual kite flying event, which features oversized kites in St. Joseph, is poised to grow even further. Organizers say there's now an open invitation to anyone to bring their big kites and fly them next year. It comes after a group of St. George residents brought their kite to rival the St. Joseph creation. Our Rianne Phillips was among the hundreds who took in the activities.
It was a battle of men against nature. Close to 25 of them fighting to get 2 huge kites in the sky. It's the norm for St. Joseph resident Nilo Masco and his team. But this year, it took several attempts over the course of 3 hours to get their 28-foot kite up. Well, only for a few seconds.
Due to the size of the kite, the wind pressure really is a bit low. So we're trying to make some adjustments with the kite in order to get it airborne.
In their first appearance, Blues and his team from St. George found favor with the wind. Their 18-foot kite stayed airborne for around 3 minutes. Clyde Moore says the St. George team will be back next year.
I feel good to see that the kite went up, and the guys who are really constructed the kite, like my man here, which is one of the carpenters, and we had the kite in here for a little while. One thing that we had a little problem with the cord, but we feel good.
Spectators, including this 6-week-old monkey Boom Boom, were out in their numbers to witness the event. His owners hope he'll be inspired by the kites.
to see the big kites flying today, so that next year he might produce one himself.
I'm here to take in the lovely tradition of watching the kite fly here at Andrews, me and my son.
Organizers also played tribute to former St. Joseph teammate Ryan Williams, who passed away last year.
We lost one of our members late last year, Ryan Williams. He's greatly missed because, like this morning, he would have been one of the first guys here, making noise that we don't have this, you don't have that, and we got to get this, and got everybody on the toes, that kind of thing. So he's greatly missed today.
The Easter weekend may be over, but these two teams are already planning for Easter 2019. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Thanks, Rianne. Tributes have continued to flow in for the former Barnufo president, Angela Watson. Many, including officials from the Fisheries Division, recall her unwavering commitment to the improvement of the fishing industry in Barbados.
Angela was a cool, easygoing person. I was always willing to assist. I would have met her while at work in the fishing industry, and as the activities went by, she was always willing to accept new things. She never really presented any negativity or anything like that.
Her heart and soul was into the organization. There were times we didn't agree because as a public servant, I saw things different from her. Her main focus was the salvation of the Fisher Folk organization and, of course, the fishers. My role was primarily the fishing industry as a whole. So therefore that's where we digress. But I found her to be very active in the fishing industry. In fact, she attended several workshops, and I attended several workshops with her also, and I found her to be knowledgeable in the area. She did her research, and she spoke her mind.
She showed strong leadership, and she was genuinely interested in the development of the fishing industry and the betterment of persons who are involved in the industry. And from that perspective, I think the industry as a whole will miss that vibrancy and that dedication and interest.
Meanwhile, Ms. Watson's successor and current president of Barnufo, Vernell Nichols, says Angela always gave her best when representing fisherfolk. She also recalled several of their interactions and the knowledge which was always shared.
And everything, you don't always agree on everything, but at least you have the respect for each other to either agree or disagree. But at the end of the day, we were all working for the same purpose, and that is to build the fishing industry and to see that the fishing industry goes to another level. One of the things that I would like to see is that, you know, in her memory, what we hope to do Barnufo during the month of June, when we are having our Fisherman's Week of activities, we will try to look. I'm going to speak to my president board and look at how we are going to honor her.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. An earthquake with a magnitude of 4.6 rocked Haiti yesterday morning, but there were no immediate reports of injuries and damage. This as the French CARICOM country continues to recover from a massive earthquake which killed thousands of people back in 2010. The Ministry of Environment and the Permanent Secretariat for Risk and Disaster Management indicated that the quake was recorded at 9:45 and was located at sea. Police in Grenada have made another drug haul, this time seizing 1,033 pounds of cannabis. The drugs were recovered along the seashore in 22 nylon bags in the confines of the beach area in St. Andrew during a joint operation by officers attached to Drug Squad and Special Services Unit. Police say a fishing vessel was confiscated, however, no arrests were made. In Trinidad and Tobago, the Congress of the People's Political Party is denying it used the services of Cambridge Analytica. This after a whistleblower in the UK identified Trinidad and Tobago as the site of a data and communication mining test project, which was allegedly conducted in 2013. More in this CNC3 report.
We are not aware of any contractual engagement between the Congress of the People and SCL or Cambridge Analytica.
COP political leader Caroline Sipasad-Bechan is denying having any connection with political consulting firm Cambridge Analytica.
If it is that persons within the COP did meet or enter into any contractual agreement with or contractual arrangements with these entities, SCL or Cambridge Analytica, I want to say categorically it was never sanctioned, never approved by the National Executive nor the National Council, and such persons were on a frolic of their own.
Investigations are currently ongoing in the US and the UK into possible interference in the electoral processes in several countries. Sipasad-Bechan admits that former COP leader Prakash Ramada had initial discussions with Cambridge Analytica's parent company, SCL.
SCL was engaged by the party. Discussions took place with respect to press releases and imaging for the 2013 local government election.
She says at that stage the COP realized that it could not afford the services of the firm since it was struggling for funds. And she says while she was chairman of the party at that time, she was not aware of the discussions with Cambridge Analytica.
I am aware, however, that our vice chairman then, Ms. Nicole Dyer-Griffith, and Mr. Ramada were having discussions in terms of how we move forward as a party in terms of imaging of the party.
Earlier this week, a UK whistleblower indicated that a Minister of National Security from Trinidad and Tobago contracted the services of the political consultant firm to find a way to access the Internet service provider data for the entire country and to monitor what people were browsing.
I fully support the government of Trinidad and Tobago investigating this matter.
An issue Sipasad-Bechan is calling for the government to deal with. She says that the party doesn't intend to hide anything, and if someone is found culpable, then they will be dealt with.
Well, over in Guyana, we are hearing that kite making is still considered a very lucrative business.
On Easter Monday, persons flocked to every open space with their kites to join in the annual kite flying activity. Although there is a rise in the use of the made-in-China bird kite, Guyanese still view the kite-making business as a profitable venture. One kite maker and vendor on Camp Street spoke with Nightly News about this.
Mr. Prince, how long have you been selling kites in Georgetown?
Well, I've been selling kites in Georgetown for the past 30-something years. I wouldn't directly tell you the direct amount, but over 30 years.
Why are you selling kites? What does the Easter holidays mean to you?
Well, the Easter holiday means a lot of things to a lot of people. Maybe what it might mean to me, it might mean to everybody else. But as a businessman, kite selling is a business also, and this is part of my craft. This is also an art and is a craft. This is part of my craft.
Kite flying is more of a cultural than a religious activity, with persons from all religious backgrounds taking part. Another kite maker, Troy Taylor, says that although for many local Christians, this celebration is to commemorate the ascension of Christ, making kites is an art and allows children to think and be more creative in what they do.
You're presently assembling a kite and you usually sell them for Easter. How long have you been in this business?
Oh, I was in this business like for 25 years now, making kites for sale at Chocolate Bridge, because the Easter is so wonderful to me, and I make kites for a living. And the children them come and buy the kite because I sell kite for a normal price, and the parents enjoy buying kite at me. But I just love kite. I don't care what nobody. I love to make kite, I love flying kite because why? I don't check on the money. I check on the kids them that come in. If you have $500, you could come to me with $500 and I can give you a kite. No man sell my kite for $700, $800, what is selling for? When the child comes with you, the child have to get a kite. Because now you are dealing with the kids.
Still in Guyana, some fake news has the government up in arms. This after a Guyana Times article about a measles outbreak in a section of the country ended up with Guyana being placed on a PAHO watch list.
The Guyana Times newspaper on March 22 published an article under the headline Region 1 Battling with Measles Outbreak. According to the article, the outbreak surfaced earlier this year and came as a result of infected persons coming across the border from Venezuela. Addressing the post-cabinet press briefing on Thursday, Minister Joseph Harmon said the article is not only false, but it has done Guyana a great injustice.
And as a result of the article, Guyana had been placed on the WHO, PAHO watch list, along with Brazil, Venezuela, and Honduras.
The minister said that after the article was published, an immediate inquiry was launched. The Guyana Times had quoted the chairman of that region in their article.
However, investigation by technical staff of the Ministry of Public Health, along with the representatives of the PAHO here in Guyana, had confirmed that the reports emanating from the regional administration, region number 1, had been patently false, and that there was no outbreak of measles as claimed.
Minister of Public Health, Valda Lawrence, unhappily informed the cabinet on Tuesday about the developments.
She advised that caution should be exercised when public pronouncements on health issues were made, and stated that experts should be allowed to perform their duties in relation to such issues.
The minister assured that the Ministry of Public Health will continue to work with the regional administration and the Guyana Defense Force in order to increase surveillance and to manage the movements of persons across the borders.
Guyana is sending a 2-member delegation to the annual meetings of the Boards of Governors of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. State Minister Joseph Harmon said that Finance Minister Winston Jordan and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana will attend the April 16 to 22nd meeting. Harmon said that Georgetown will use the meetings to interact with leading personalities and organizations to discuss issues important to economic development and finance. Well, a peek at sports news is just ahead, but before we get there, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
Some supplements are made in unsafe surroundings, like a basement or kitchen lab, and can be contaminated with steroid and other banned substances. This fact is brought to you compliments the National Anti-Doping Commission.